Today I interview local author and poet Nicholas Trandahl in the studio about his new book, Good Brave People. Nick, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Nick Trandahl. I'm a newspaperman in Wyoming and a journalist and an author. I'm a Army veteran as well. I'm married with 3 daughters, and that's me in a nutshell.
So you've written a new book. It just came out yesterday. Tell us a little bit about that. What is the title and how did it come about?
Well, it's a literary fiction novel called Good Brave People. It came about as fragments of poetry. I'm a poet for the most part. I don't do a lot of fiction, but it started as poetry and evolved to a short story, a certain scene about an American shopping in a marketplace in Spain. And I couldn't stop writing it, and it, became a novella and eventually became a full-fledged novel.
What motivated you or inspired you to write this book?
Well, I've been enamored with Spain for years and years and years. I like Hemingway and James Michener and Paulo Coelho and all these sorts of writers. Yeah, they kind of made me fall in love with Spain.
And so there was a lot of Spanish, and I kind of get the sense that there's some food influences and a little bit of music. Tell me a little bit about that.
I see cuisine as a large part of a culture, a defining aspect of a culture. It's what I enjoy reading about. One of the aspects I enjoy reading about is food. I injected a lot of that into Good Brave People. Music, absolutely. Different Spanish composers feature in the novel.
When you're developing all of your characters for your book, tell me how much of that comes from real life and how much of it is the fictional part?
Sure. Well, when I do write fiction, I write really character-driven fiction. Inevitably, it's gonna have traces of reality in it.
Sure.
We imagine as authors, how would we react in these situations and places, and I could tell the story best if I imagine how I would react. So my character is gonna have those traits from me as well.
Do you find that when you're creating these characters, almost kind of like befriend them almost in a way?
I do. You fall in love with them almost. It's hard to leave them behind when a manuscript's over. And then when the editing process and revisions and stuff are over, it's hard to finally lay it to rest.
Sure.
But then, I get to share these characters that I'm very, very fond of with readers around the world, and that kind of, makes up for me having to let them go.
Tell us a little bit about the process to writing Good Brave People, from when the idea first spurred to the publishing aspect, and what did you go through to do that?
Sure. Most of my background, like I said, was poetry, and that's written in a different sort of way, in spurts of inspiration and things like that. But Good Brave People, writing a novel took a lot of work compared to writing a poem. I would do a lot of writing in the mornings and late at night, and then weekends and things like that. But it took consistent work to sit down at sit down at your writing desk and get to work. It's not like poetry where I can just write in moments of inspiration. Mm-hmm. With a novel, you gotta just do the work. I wrote 5 drafts of it myself, and then handing it over to my editor, we did a couple thorough revisions.
So you've done the novel. What's next?
Well, I'm turning back to poetry. It's what I know best. I always have an ongoing poetry manuscript, always going. And
you've published a few of those, right?
I have 3 prior poetry collections with Winter Goose Publishing, who's publishing Good Brave People. Pulling Words, Think of Me, and Bravery are my poetry collections. So I always have a poetry manuscript which I've really neglected for the past couple of years as I've worked on Good Brave People. There's always poems trickling in. So that's kind of what I foresee in the near future.
And so what would you want your readers to take away from Good Brave People?
Well, I would like readers to take away an interest in, not just Spain, in travel and trying new types of food and meeting new people and listening to new music. And we have a very beautiful world that, I want to encourage readers to explore it and explore other cultures and other types of people. And, I'd like them to take that away from Good Brave People.
So what advice would you have for someone that is starting out writing stories or poetry? How would they get published? Any advice for a future writer?
Sure. Before worrying about publishing or anything like that, I think a good writer has to acquire life experience. That's the number one thing. Get outside, travel, try new things, meet new people, listen to conversations, take notes. All of that, is material for a writer and incredibly important. And then when it comes down to, getting your work published, it takes thick skin and it takes tenacity. You are going to get rejected frequently. I still get rejected trying to get different things in different journals and magazines and things, but stay determined and, keep improving your writing. Read as much as possible because that really, really helps your own prose.
So, Nick, how can we find out more, or how can we purchase more of your books and find all of your books?
All my stuff's available worldwide on Amazon. You can get it on Barnes & Noble. If you have a small local bookstore you like to shop at, you can request them to get it in. The usual places to buy.
It's a good time to connect again with literature. So, well, thank you so much, Nick. It was a pleasure speaking with you about your book, Good Brave People, out now, so you can purchase it now. And thanks for joining us at North by Northeast.